I can.
Okay, I'm recording. So welcome everybody to Pets Part 2. We were supposed to have District Governor-elect Joel with us here this evening. Unfortunately, he's having some pretty serious family health issues and is not going to make it tonight. So we are going to cover some of his slides and some of the things that he was going to do. He has the district governor's address, which he normally gives at Pets, that we will not be doing, but we're going to still go over the district project and the district citation to get the meeting going. I'm going to mute everyone. She said, mute all. There we go. And you can still unmute yourself, but it makes it easier for us who are presenting not to have the background noise and hear ourselves echoing.
I'm going to try coming in again.
You're here, Pat. Okay. So we're going to just go through the agenda as it was sent to you without the part of the introduction that Joel was going to do. But so let me go ahead and get started with that. There's a little bit of uncertainty right now, and I don't know, Suzanne, how much or how little to say, but I'm not, I don't know when he's going to be able to come back in, but we do have meetings scheduled for the next 2 Mondays. So hopefully he'll be able to join us at one of them. If not, he will definitely reach out. And it is most likely the same address that you will be hearing when he does the visit, the club visit, the district.
Okay, I still can't hear you.
I can hear you. So when he does go to your club, you'll probably hear this same presentation that he's going to give. So the last time we had a really good summary of a lot of the things that it means to be a district governor and a lot of the roles and responsibilities that you have. Today, we're going to continue with our training. And Robin and Scott, can you monitor the chat, please? 1 minute or yes? I can't hear you.
Can we troubleshoot Pat, make sure she's in?
I'm in now.
Okay, you can hear. Good. Excellent.
I'll monitor the chat.
And is everybody else ready to go? If you're not, please put a message in chat and hopefully we can help you with that if there's anybody else having trouble.
Karina, do you want to review how to just be the speaker window on your screen, which may be helpful for some?
Yes. Well, mine looks different than a lot of yours. And especially now that I'm sharing. Hang on. Nope, I can't, Robin, because it's so you'll have to explain it to him. I can't show them because I'm sharing.
Okay, so on my screen, I have a few options to see everyone or one speaker or a panel of 4 or 5 down one side or the other. At the top of that toolbar, there's a few little things. One is hide a thumbnail. The next one is show small active speaker video. Another one is thumbnail video, and then large active speaker video. If you click on the show small active speaker video, it will be just one floating head in your screen, which will be Karina or someone similar.
Whoever's talking.
Just thought it might be a helpful tip.
Mm-hmm. Anything in the chat? Are we good to go?
good to go.
Thank you. All right, so we are, part 2 of the President's-elect training. And I will just start with this picture here because it does show the district governor-elect and his wife, Valerie, and the RI president, Holger Knack, and his wife, Suzanne. So, and just so that you know, something that is just a custom in Canada, the spouses frequently do not have the same last names. And that's just a mistake that we make frequently, referring to somebody by the same last name as their spouse. So just keep that in mind. You will see that frequently. I'm going to zoom through these other slides here. The district governor's citation is something that anybody who has been president of their club is familiar with. And if you've been on the board, you might also be familiar with it. Every year, the RI president, and the district governor put out goals for their clubs in a format that is that points are awarded to those folks who, for different activities that they complete. So I haven't looked at the RI citation, but we should probably link that in the agenda. And the district governor sent me his citation today. And what it does, it really does constitute the fundamentals of being an effective club. So it's things you want to do as club president, and any of these things that you can attain will really help your club to be a much more effective club. I am going to get out of here briefly and just hop over to where I put it. Oh, yeah, that would be helpful. Oh, because I can't get there from here. Wrong computer. Somebody sing or something while this is oh, I know why. Crap. Oh, look. Yay. Okay. Can we all see this? Scott, can you give me a thumbs up? Because I see you in if you can see that. All right. This is his district governor's citation, and you will all get a copy of this. Scott, it's in the drive somewhere, and if you can find it and link it, that would be fantastic. If not, I will find it later. So these are the goals. You're automatically going to be eligible for a citation. Like, you will automatically get a citation, which is what your goal is, if you implement a new type of Rotary Club for your club, like a new type of like if you start a club on a different day at a different time or things like that, or if you get young people from the labor force, if you start a Rotaract club. So any type of new club or Rotaract club that you start automatically gets you a citation, because that's just such an important thing. One of the things Joelle did mention to me is the concern about membership. People not going to regular meetings is going to be a real issue with everything that's going on. And having some sort of virtual meeting, which is why the RI president, I'm sure, just sent out that email today inviting everybody to a Zoom meeting, to keep up that regular participation, because they're worried that there's going to be up to a 10% decrease in membership because of what's happening and because meetings have been canceled. So, you know, starting a new club time to get more members and starting a Rotaract club, those are two ways to really get people into Rotary. Under membership, you need to get 2 of those 5 different things. Under foundation, the same, 2 of 5. Public image, you need to get 2 of the 3. And new generations, you need to get 2 of the 4. So those are all of the different things. And you just, if you have, so for the first one of membership, if you have a net gain of 2 new members for the Rotary year, you check off that box. That's one of the 2 that you need. So that's how that works. It's very simple. And you know, look at all of those things. Who wouldn't want to do some of those things for their club? They're really important types of things to have in your club do. Oh my gosh, this is in the way. Oh, there we go. Okay. Does everybody understand what the district governor's citation is? So it will be due usually in April, and it's usually awarded at the district conference in May. So that's just to give you an idea of when you'll be doing it. So it's a good thing to keep an eye on and bring up every once in a while throughout the year. It's also a really good thing to bring up and look at during when you're making your goals, because you know, if you have a club goal of getting new members and you want to know, well, what's a good number? Well, at least net 2 is a great number to go with. It's right there in the citation. So it's a good way to kind of structure some of your own goals as well. This year, the district project, Joelle does have a district project. Every district governor has had one, and they use foundation money, the money that's comes back to the district, and global grants to fund these district projects around the world. And it's a great way. Not every district in Rotary does this, but it's a really great way for your club to be involved in an international project and participate without doing it yourself if you haven't done one before. Most clubs in the district at least contribute to the district projects, and we've had really good success, and they get, I don't know, probably 45 to 50,000 depending on the year of what they get from the clubs. Is that accurate, Suzanne? Put her on the spot. She's probably not there.
No, I'm here. It's about 35 to 40 because it's in Quebec they give in Canadian dollars, so it depends on the exchange. So
Okay.
if you're on the exchange rate, we make out a little bit better. But the expectation is when clubs are asked to give a pledge at PETS. So I don't know how we're going to accomplish that.
We didn't get there. So,
Right.
And Joelle's not here. We'll definitely, and that is something that does come up. And I know we sent out as part of some of the AGs in Maine discussed the pre-PETS worksheet, which has on it to make sure to talk to your club about your board about if they're going to give to the district project and to if they want to make a pledge at PETS. So some of you are probably familiar with that. So what Suzanne's talking about is the pledge that your club is going to support the district governor. And we don't know when that's going to happen or how, because it's usually been done at PETS. So we'll take that one as it comes, I guess. So his district project is in South Peru near Arequipa, and we've done other projects in this area. It's going to happen in 3 villages in that province, and I am not going to pronounce them, but those are the 3. And it has to do with water. As many of you know, water is becoming an issue in any places where glacial runoff was the main way that water was replenished every year. The glacier ice is melting fast, and there's less and less of the water coming down and giving people the replenishing water for their use. And as you can see in this picture, southern Peru is extremely dry. So they want to bring clean water, improve the waste management system, and they also want to give some good hygiene practices. So there is a teaching component of this. And I don't think I've ever seen a good project, global project or district project, that didn't have an effective education component to it. One of the main goals of Rotary International is sustainability with projects, and education is a way to really address sustainability. So they're going to install the water system and some toilets, and then they're going to create the education system. And a part of that, not just hygiene, is increasing awareness on how this is going to benefit the population. And this is a good one, understanding the value of water conservation. You know, I think that's something that we don't understand as much as we could because we're lucky enough to have such good water resources. And they're also going to give education for best practices on toilet use. I laughed when I saw that, and I was like, I really don't know what that means. So right now it means don't use a lot of toilet paper because it's scarce, I think. But no, it's for, but again, it's more part of the education program, which helps with the sustainability. They did a survey on 50 families, and these are some of the results. These are actually quite striking. You know, 34% is younger than 17. Almost 30% have kids between 2 and 12. And half the population has an education level of primary school or less. So there is great need in this community. And they're also drinking water that has not been properly tested. So, you know, that means they're sick a lot of the time when they shouldn't be. The target is to help 10,000 people in these 3 villages. So it's a big goal. And sorry, that image did not come through. So in order to do that, they need partners. They need to partner with people in the area and other organizations in the area to get it done. So the local Rotary Club, the Department of Housing, and the municipal district. And they've been very helpful for us in the past. As you can see here, in 2003 to 2010, there were a bunch of projects that were accomplished in that same area with the same Rotary Club. And the Quebec Charleboix Club has successfully done 3 projects with them, and the value is $175,000 total on those 3 projects. And one of them spanned 3 years, I think, at least 2. There was one that was at least a 2-year project that was really great. So one district governor started, and the next one picked it up because it was a much bigger project. So, and they do already have a person in the host Rotary Club who is willing to take charge of the project. And as Joelle said, it's up to us because Rotary opens opportunities. And if anybody has questions, you can put them in the chat, And Scott, if you can write them down, any specific questions, we can get answers from Paul Beaulieu, past district governor, who can help us with that. And I told Joelle that's what I would do in case anybody does have questions. Is anything anybody else wants to say about district projects before we move on?
Nothing's popping up at this time.
All right. Well then, Robin, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. At the end of last week's meeting, we asked everyone to locate and review your bylaws. Find out where does your club keep them, what do they contain? Take a look at those. So we'll start from there. The Rotary clubs and districts are guided by the Manual of Procedure, and you can get a copy of that if you want it. There is also a link online, so you don't have to actually order the printed one. The RI Constitution and the RI Bylaws, these documents provide the structure for our policies and procedures. The Manual of Procedure is a concise version of Rotary's policies and are geared to the Rotary Club district leaders. It's got information that's relevant to their roles. It's published about every 3 years to reflect the adopted legislation and decisions from the RI conventions, the Council on Legislation, also referred to as COL, the Rotary International Board of Directors, and the trustees of the foundation. Doug will speak to this in a little bit. He'll go a little deeper with that. But so your Constitution, as you can see on the screen, provides the basic rules. It's updated every 3 years. I kind of just covered what it covers. The bylaws are kind of unique to managing your club, but there is a template. There's guidelines from Rotary. You have to adhere to those. And then from there, you can kind of expand. You should review them regularly and update them as needed. Karina, can you advance a slide? Thank you. So covered in the bylaws are the, your election, your terms. Click to start. Do that again. You just did something to me here. Sorry, bear with us. You're speaking and I can't hear you.
I'm trying to give you remote control. It says you're controlling.
Okay, well, we'll see how that goes.
Can you click on the screen and see if it... Can you click the down, the down or up button? No.
I did that. It didn't get me anywhere. Hang on. Oh. Hang on a minute. I've got a view options. There we go. Maybe. Bear with us. I can't advance it. Sorry. All right. So I'm not going to read these to you because that can be quite annoying. But basically, it's unique to your club, the culture of your club, the flavor of your club, however you want to do that. But it would talk about the terms of your officers, the duties, the when, the how often you meet, your fees, your dues, those types of things. So just be aware of that. You should review them periodically. It's a good practice. Every club should do that periodically. I know we do it every few years. So advance, please.
Robin?
Yes?
Could I add something in there?
Of course.
It seems to me that one of the things that that may be different within a club is how you actually do elections.
Yes.
And so I would just advise people to pay attention to what it says within those standard bylaws and adapt them as is appropriate to what your club actually does. I I guess I wonder even at this point in time if our own club adheres to what our bylaws say.
Right.
I think it's one of the areas that's most likely to be overlooked and not adhered to.
And since you're unmuted, where does your club keep your bylaws?
Well, they're in my computer. And every new member as they come in receives them, but they're also on our Club Runner page as for people to observe if they so desire.
We keep ours in Club Runner under the View Club Documents, which is the place to keep all of your club business. For those of you who have not gone there before, I recommend you kind of start getting familiar with your website. It's a wonderful tool, and I know we started using it, I want to say in 2011, 12, pretty hardcore, and we've got our meetings minutes, our treasury reports, we've got all kinds of information there. And I know that our bylaws are there because I put them there when I was president years ago. So that was one of my things about trying to get us start the process of getting us administratively organized. And they still need to be reviewed from time to time. It's just the way it is. So anything else?
Should I play devil's advocate and ask how many years ago were you president?
2012-13 was my year.
Okay,
And,
so if they haven't been updated
they have
lately,
been updated. I can proudly say they have been in between because we had some changes in the club and I was part of that.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Robin, try your controlling the screen again.
Okay. I'm
So
using my
screen for
arrows.
Robin.
We might have something here.
Yes,
Yep.
that's you.
Bing, bing.
All right.
Yep. Thank you for your patience, everyone.
Yeah, learned something new.
Yep. Oh, now we're going too far. Hang on. So glad this is recorded.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add to that point, Doug?
No, I'm done.
Main thing to remember is that you can't change the Constitution, but you can and should and have to supposedly change your bylaws and
Right.
update them.
But don't forget to put your club name and location and so forth,
All that.
even on the Constitution. Otherwise, it's just a document that doesn't pertain to any particular club. So make sure you call it your own.
Yes. Thank you. Does everybody else have a pop-up window on the screen like I've got? Thank you. Okay. So we are some bylaw amendments. Okay. So when do you amend your bylaws? The current bylaw template from RI requires a minimum of the president, the immediate past president, the president-elect, the secretary, and treasurer as your officers. You may want to add board members, and that's cause for an amendment, such as directors or the president nominee or sergeant at arms or whatever works for your club. You want to review that as well. I know we made changes a few years ago because that was what we needed to do. There is a template, and all of these have been linked into the agenda. And you can use the recommended Rotary bylaws, the template, which reflect the policy. You adapt them to your culture. And there's been many changes in recent years. Do your bylaws reflect how often you meet? Because attendance requirements have changed. Do they reflect the types of memberships in your club? These are all things that you can touch on in doing amendments. So let me advance. I have got a sensitive screen here. Boop. Okay. Bear with me. It does not want to stay. Bear with me. Oh, there. Okay, there we go. So once you have amendments, Karina, did you just change me? need to go
No,
back
I
one.
muted myself because I realized you could hear me laughing at you.
Thank you. Love
Oh,
you
but it
too.
is changing you too.
Yes. I just need to go back one. We're on the final slide. Sorry, folks. Bear with us. Ta-da! Okay. So, as I mentioned, you need to conform to the RA Constitution and bylaws. You need to vote at a regular club meeting, not your board meeting, and that's important. Your club members have to weigh in on this. They have to vote on the proposed amendments to the bylaws. You have to notify them in advance. Be sure at least 1/3 of your active members, a quorum, are present, and that the amendment needs the votes of 2/3 of the members present. So all of this can be found at rotary.org, and you search in the toolbar there, governance documents, and there's a great page with live links. It's got all the stuff I've mentioned. We've added these links to the documents, including the manual of procedure, to your agenda, and to the resources document, which is linked at the top of this week's agenda. So everything has been kind of handed to you here to make your life easy, but if you're dubbing around on the website, you can certainly find it there as well. Anyone have any questions? Oop, here, George. Wait, I got a window in my way. Okay. Yes. I went to actually the Rotary.org governance documents and looked at the latest and greatest, but I do know what you're speaking to when you load the officers. Thank you for that, George. So the point being, you need to review your bylaws. You need to make sure you're in.
Can you read the question for those who might not have quite figured out the chat?
Yes, I'm trying to move my screen around here to access it though. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. George from West Bay, the list of minimum officers that Robin cited are different than the minimum offers wanted by Rotary Club Central. President, secretary, treasurer, foundation chair, membership chair, and an executive secretary or director, if that applies to your club. They wanted those by 12/31 for this upcoming new year. So they're looking for your officers on file so they can send you advanced documents typically. Doug, do you have anything to add to that? He's shaking his head no.
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for that, George. Thanks for pointing that out because that is valuable. If we're all set, any other questions? Okay, well then I will mute and hand it off. Thank you, everyone.
Doug, I'm going to try this for you.
Oh, good. I don't know if that is a good thing.
I don't know, you can try.
Let me get my Zoom out of the way. There, okay, my chat, I should say. All right, I don't even see a place to actually
Just
advance.
start moving your mouse.
All right, it's moving. But
There you
I
go.
don't,
You're moving it on the screen.
I'm moving my mouse on this. Hey, ooh, look at this.
You just click the
Right.
screen. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right, so at this point in time, we're advancing and I'm not doing anything.
Because you hit the play.
Oh,
Hit that pause button. There you go. Now go back.
oh my word. Perhaps we should have practiced with this because I've never seen this on my screen before. All right, is it going to stay there?
Yep.
Let's hope so.
Just don't
Okay.
hit the play button.
All right, so we're at this point in time going to speak about what the Council on Legislation came up with for the their last term.
Mhm.
And as Robin mentioned when she was speaking about bylaws and constitution, she mentioned several times about a 3-year term. And it is a 3-year term because the Council on Legislation meets every 3 years in order to decide if there will be any changes within the bylaws and constitution and so forth within Rotary International. I was fortunate enough to be present at the Council on Legislation in 2013, and it was quite an amazing experience. Previous to my going there, I thought, well, you know, I'm not hardly a legislator or anything like that, and have absolutely no. I didn't even touch it, and it moved. But I wondered, you know, what am I? Karina, why don't you control it? Because this is absurd.
Sorry, it's me because I was trying to mute myself.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay, well, we should be back at least. There we go. So I thought I really wondered how much I was going to enjoy the experience, but I found it to be absolutely fascinating and very well done, very thorough. Everyone who needed or wanted to speak about any particular resolution had the opportunity to. So you can rest assured that the Council on Legislation indeed does work very well. There is one representative from each district who makes up the bulk of the voting body. And so anyway, it was a fantastic experience, and one that I'll certainly never forget. But anyway, we want to talk about what happened in 2019, and of course, you will see a link in your agenda that gets you to some of this information anyway. But the first essential change for clubs or districts is the attendance situation, which, of course, as you know, Rotary has been lessening and slackening on this for years. As I've mentioned before. Now, our particular club, it hit in a different way because we're one of the albatrosses out there that still uses fines for missed meetings. And now, with the last change in attendance from this legislative body, has now made it such that an individual has not 2 weeks either side of a missed meeting, but they've actually got now a full Rotary year to make up a missed meeting. So this kind of threw us in a bit of a tizzy because we would send out the fines with the 6 months dues bill for the previous 6 months. But of course, we couldn't do that at this last billing period. Because people had a year from those that they missed from July 1 on to make them up. So it changes our administrative budget to a bit. So the second point here is the club board, and actually specifically the president. So this should interest those PEs who are joining us. A club president's term can be extended for up to 1 year if their successor has not been selected. So make sure you have someone coming in after you, or you might end up with a nice 2-year term. The next situation that they've addressed is the club finances. And under financial reporting, the annual meeting for the election of officers, which you should know it needs to take place before the end of December each year, should and has to include the club's mid-year financial report with the current and previous year income and expenses. So that's an additional report that clubs need to be aware of that they would have to make during the month of December. Now, as far as satellite club financials, if there is a satellite club, then that club has to report to the president and the board of their host club. And of course, that report needs to be audited or reviewed for purposes of being a satellite club. And of course, the club dues increased. I think every term that they've had a council on legislation, you see the club dues go up. Now, in 2019-20, the member dues are at $34 per half year. And then, of course, in order to improve service to clubs, and the RI semi-annual dues were increased by 50 cents for each of the next 3 years. So it'll be $34.50 per half year in 2021, $35 per half year in 21-22, and of course $35.50 per half year in 2022-2023. So those are things that your predecessors would have known about, and also those who succeed you need to know when they go to figure out what your individual club's dues are going to be, because this will determine what your dues to RI will be. Okay, Karina.
Is that per member?
Yes, that is a per capita dues. All right. Next slide, Karina, please.
It's still you.
Let's see if you can do it without.
It's still you.
Is it? Oh my goodness. No, my little screen is not coming up.
All right.
Okay,
Got
thank you.
Yep.
All right, so another factor is changing club name or location. There is an extension of this notification. Proposed changes to a club's name or locality have to be provided to each member and the governor at least 21 days before changes are voted on. And at this point in time, it's 10 days, but for the new term, it's now 21 days. And this modernized language part of it, there's no longer classification restrictions on forming a club in a locality. A club may be formed even if one or more clubs are already organized in the locality. The locality of a club that conducts its activities primarily online shall be worldwide, or as the club board so determines. And under club rules, again, we have a classification here of modernized language. The standard Rotary Club Constitution language was modernized and streamlined to help with flow and readability. No substantial changes were made to the policies. And as you can see from your PETS resources, and as Robin has mentioned before, you can download that version of the club constitution from that document. Now, I see is there a chat? I see a chat number down below. Is that from?
Ken Hune is asking, is it part of the Constitution or bylaws that states a majority of members be present for a bylaws change?
That was
Yeah.
that was from the previous slide, but
Yeah.
somehow the chat didn't go through.
Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah, that was addressed by Robin, that it needs to be, well, the vote needs to be 2/3 of those present, and you need to have, what's the actual percentage? Is it just a quorum? I think you just need to have a quorum of your club members.
Well, a quorum is fine, but she said that made a statement that a majority of the members need to be present. That's problematic for many people.
No, well, it's quorum that is the word used, and then it's 2/3 that have to vote.
Of the present, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, a
2/3 of
quorum-
those present.
A quorum is much more acceptable than the majority of the members.
Absolutely, right. Yeah. Okay, Corinne, I guess it's probably still you. All right, so elections. The club voting strength. A club's voting strength is determined by the number of its members on 1 July, in other words, the 1 July club invoice. District dues. Clubs may only vote for the member and alternate member of the nominating committee for director. As you may or may not even know, that clubs have the power to vote for the director or alternate member of the nominating committee for director, but they may not do that if their district dues are not paid to the district, and that of course is determined by the governor. So that's why under elections it says district dues. The club's dues needs to be paid in order for clubs to have the ability to go ahead and vote in that. Okay, so membership. The big one here, of course, is Rotary Act. There was quite a change. Just like Rotary clubs, Rotary Act clubs are now members of Rotary International. So that's quite a change. Now, there is no operational changes as far as Rotary Act clubs or the Rotary clubs that sponsor them are concerned, but this particular provision elevates the status of Rotary Act clubs and allows RI to increase their support and the resources they use to help them grow. In many ways, of course, the Rotary Act experience will not change. Rotary clubs will still charter and sponsor Rotary Act clubs. Rotary Act clubs will still have their own standard constitution and their own unique club experience. Members of a Rotary Act club will not be called Rotarians. They are Rotaractors. And Rotary Act clubs will not immediately pay dues or receive other benefits such as the official magazine that all Rotary members receive. But I get the sense that this is an action that the board will be taking sometime, probably not in the very far distant future. I think it will be a very minor amount of dues, but maybe somewhere around $5 or something like that. But I think you will be seeing that before much longer. Now, the aspect of diversity, clubs will need a well-balanced membership that celebrates the diversity of their area. So this is just to highlight that, to make sure clubs have that sensitivity to that situation. Classification, the classification limitation has been removed. So that clubs may now determine for themselves how many is appropriate to their area for members in one particular classification. In addition, elected or appointed club officials are no longer prohibited from joining a club using the classification associated with their office. So this used to be the case, obviously, but is no longer the fact. And then you have small clubs here. A governor may request the RI board to terminate clubs with fewer than 6 members. So that's why that is stated as small clubs. Now, a few other points. There were more than 100 proposals, which actually is not particularly high this past session. But some of the little other tidbits, representatives authorized the board to pursue changing RI's charitable status, finally, to 501c3. It's presently the 501c4. And let's see, what else did I have a note on? Oh, the council also changed the name of the general surplus fund to the RI reserve. I think that's much what our own district did. Gives it a better flavor of what it really is. It's a reserve. And approve calling the general secretary a chief executive officer, especially when dealing with organizations outside the realm of Rotary. And this gives him, kind of better leverage to work with those other organizations. And I understand that one of the resolutions that is small but was quite actively debated was to reduce the number of non-voting members at future councils by removing past RI presidents and allowing only one RI board director to attend but not vote. The Council on Legislation is certainly extremely important, but it also is rather expensive. It's similar to the International Assembly in January, where you have at least one individual from every district, so that coming from all over the world, and then you house them and feed them for a week in Chicago, and in the vernacular, it ain't cheap. So I think the council cutting back on its own numbers is a wise move. So that's the Council on Legislation. As I said, you've got links on your agenda to get in.
Doug, could you repeat that part about the switch from 50C3 to 50C3?
Yeah, they are currently actually 501c4, and they're going to try out a term being 501c3. They're studying this change for like 18 months, and they hope it will benefit with tax reductions and also with vendor discounts that would reduce expenses overall.
So is that Rotary International doing that?
Yes.
Then passes that down to the clubs?
No, that would be Rotary International, the organization itself, becoming.
Yeah, but aren't the clubs organized underneath the Rotary International?
Well, they are, but you would have to be a corporation to become a 501c3. So that's.
No, I know that, but
Yeah.
that's Rotary International.
Right.
So if the club is organized under Rotary International, they should be able to receive the benefits of the organized club.
Well, I'm not sure that would pass down through, because you are actually organized as a corporation within your state. So I would question that you'd be able to ride on the coattails of Rotary International.
Well, if you're organized, I mean, I've done this with a couple different organizations. If you're organized and separately incorporated by yourself, then you have to go about whatever designation you have, 50C3, 50C6, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
If you're organized as a organization underneath a larger organization like Rotary International, you can take advantage of whatever their organizational status is.
All right. Well, that's good to know. I was not aware of that. If that.
I don't think that it's set up that way, though. I think Rotary clubs are independent of Rotary International and of each other.
I don't know. I'm ashamed to say I'm a vice president, and I don't know if my club is separately a separate corporation.
Can I jump in?
Yep.
So my understanding is that Rotary International is considered its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose of it becoming a 501c3 organization is that in the past, let's say that you had let's say you owned a business and you donated separately to a Rotary International project, or you made a donation to the foundation, in order for you to properly deduct that donation, you can do that if they're a 501c3 organization.
No,
Likewise with individual clubs. So I know our club, the Waterville Club, we are our own 501c3 organization. So anyone who donates to our club can write that off as a legitimate donation. So my understanding is because Rotary is an international organization, the 501c3 status isn't recognized in every country around the world. So I believe that is, but if you would like, I have contacts and I can clarify that for you. So that won't be a problem. I'll get clarification.
And I also should find out whether my own club is in fact separately incorporated. I mean, I should know that, and I don't happen to know that. But I do know that, I mean, I know the benefits of being a 501c3. When I was chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, we formed a 501c3. Chamber of Commerces are typically 501c6s, and we formed a 501c3 so we could get the advantage of the tax exemption for people donating to causes and things like that.
And if you can email any questions you have right to Suzanne, I'd like to kind of keep the meeting going along. But we can also bring it up if you guys come to a resolution. If you could give us the answer at the next the next session we have, that would be great. Then we can pass that along to the rest of the group.
I'm sorry to slow down the operation.
Oh, that's all right. I'm not afraid of, cutting you off.
Let me also say, Ken, your secretary or treasurer should certainly know if they are filing with the state of Maine every year, their corporate membership.
Oh, certainly he knows that. He's an accountant, so I know he knows that.
Yeah.
So, are you all set, Doug?
I'm good.
Yes, ma'am. I'm done.
Are there any other questions? So right now, why don't we take a 5-minute break, and people can go get, fill their wine glasses or have some more water. And we'll see you back here. What time is it now? Oh, that's 7:05.
Just a brief comment. We got a chat comment from Pete Purble. Auburn Lewiston organized as a 501c3 a few years back. Just wanted to put that out there. See you in 5.
Okay. Right back where we started. So they also had to look inside of Rotary and take a look outside of Rotary, rather. And here's what they found when they surveyed the general public in 2015. They talked to people in 15 countries around the world. They asked, what would motivate you to join a service organization? And here's what they told them: a sense of purpose, an opportunity for community service. So they want causes that are important to them. They want an established reputation and a strong heritage. They want, somebody that's been around for a while and that is going to be around for a while after. And they want programs that make a difference locally. And we all know how important it is for members in our clubs to be involved locally. It sounds just like Rotary, doesn't it? Purpose, causes, reputation, and programs. They also asked people if they had ever heard of Rotary, and they found out that our global awareness is really actually quite outstanding. In fact, 3 out of 4 people in the survey were aware of Rotary. And among the world's leading local service, among the world's leading social service organizations, we were actually ranked in the top 3 in terms of people being aware of what Rotary was. And people also know enough about Rotary that we do good in the world. But there are challenges. Only 35% thought that Rotarians were people like me. And just 25% knew somebody in Rotary. So all of us know how this is playing out in real life. Membership has dropped as much as 18% in North America. We set a record in 2018 for the number of people who left Rotary. That is where the action plan comes in. Since we are people of action, it makes sense that this plan is called an action plan. It's a plan that is clear-eyed about the challenges Rotary faces. It acknowledges the difficult conversations we've had at Rotary and that we must continue to have. So the action plan offers the framework and space to identify and address potential disconnects between the goals and the needs of the clubs and the districts and the zones and the headquarters. Change is hard, we all know that, but the action plan hopefully will help to guide that. And like I said before, none of this is change that we have not seen before. We know these things are coming, but this is just a great way to put it all together. So the way this plan works, it's ambitious, but it is achievable, especially with its 5-year time frame that will push, but not exhaust us in the effort. It's focused and to the point. 5 years, 4 priorities. Each priority represents that input and feedback that was received from former members, leadership, Rotaractors, other alumni, youth exchange students, and Rotary staff. So again, it was more than 1 million people who are connected to Rotary in some way that they surveyed to ensure that the action plan priorities are the right ones and are authentically Rotary. The 4 priorities are: increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. Now let's look at each one in a little more detail and kind of take it from the priority to the action. Excuse me. So first, increasing our impact. Our actions in increasing our impact will answer the following questions. What will our legacy be? How can we define and measure our impact? And how can we do more good in the world? So this is a pretty big priority right here. It has an awful lot of facets. Rotarians are effective problem solvers who create solutions that last because we invest in relationships. What all the leadership books today called building social capital. We know how to mobilize our networks, as has been seen through the polio effort. And we're constantly learning from our experiences as we participate in our clubs and volunteer projects and as we manage our own careers in our spare time. Throughout the fight to end polio, we have shown what we can do when we face when we draw on our collective strengths. We create solutions customized for the people who they serve, and we evaluate the results to learn from our successes and from our setbacks. We forge partnerships with global health partners. That's a huge, fabulous advantage that we have. And then when we found the infrastructure was missing, we built it. You should all be familiar with these 6 focus points of Rotary giving. This is our legacy. It's also the model that Rotary uses again and again in pursuing our goals. They want to educate the world's children, ensure equitable access to water and sanitation, help local economies grow, provide fetal and maternal health, build peace, and increase literacy. But in our data-driven world, the legacies really need to be measurable. And that's something that we've been talking about whenever you go to a grant seminar. You really want the results of what you're doing to be measurable. When you enter your goals in Rotary, you will see that they're there to give you access to enter numbers about how many people were helped, how many Rotarians were involved, how many hours, how many dollars. All of that is to increase our impact, even more proof of what Rotarians are capable of achieving. We have to be more data-driven. So just like in your regular jobs, this kind of a measurement is a best practice. You probably do something like it in your everyday work. And we know that current and potential partners, as well as younger Rotarians, want to see hard proof of the work that we're doing. And by documenting the metrics of our good work, we get a clear picture of those results. We learn how to replicate and scale up our successes, and it helps us to tell more compelling stories about the good that we do. There's a lot to do at the club level too. We're going to encourage a greater sense of focus. Instead of clubs trying to do too many things and getting only halfway there, we're going to help clubs collect more information on community impact and do pre and post activity evaluations so they can help tell compelling stories about the impact that they're making. Together, let's prove that our impact on the world has just begun. I would like to take this opportunity now to open it up to folks who might want to talk about a project, if you have one that fits some of the things that because I know some of you do. You have products that already are measurable, that you're really looking at the numbers for, that you can tell a great story about, and that you're really evaluating the people before, during, and after the project. Would anybody like to share a project with us? No? Doug, does your club have a project that fits any of that?
Let's ask Charlie.
So if people don't speak
Charlie,
up, we pick on them.
Let's hear from you, Charlie. Don't forget you're muted, Charlie.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, is Charlie speaking now? This is Mary out of Augusta, Maine. How are you?
Good.
Good. We don't have a huge project going right now, but I don't know if this would kind of fall into this, but we are looking to get the word out about Rotary more and get some more visibility in our area to help grow our chapter. So we came up with the idea of doing a raffle for a kayak.
Mm-hmm.
We got the kayak at a discounted rate, and we're able to go to different events. Well, before all this went down, we had some really great exposure events that we could go out and be seen in the public, get some more visibility, and raise funds with and sell tickets for this kayak. And then we're going to take, and once we raise all the funds, my goal is $5,000, and then we're going to find an organization to donate that $5,000 to that has something to do with Maine wildlife or animals or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that totally fits in with your ideas and thoughts, but I think it's one of our starting points for me. I'm very new to Rotary, but I'm looking to hopefully make a big impact in my year as president.
I think that sounds great. It's about making those connections, right? That's the kind of thing you're getting out there into all these different places to sell your tickets and promote Rotary. So I think that's a great program.
Thanks.
Anybody else have a project they'd like to share?
Yeah, it's not so much of a project as much as it's a service that we do. We have the Children's Task Force in Farmington,
Mm-hmm.
where Rotarians will essentially provide, we shuttle pizza from a local pizza place to this event, which is held at the high school. And it's free to all of the event is free to all of the kids in Farmington, Wilton area.
Wow.
And we serve pizzas for the Children's Task Force. They charge, I think, $1 a slice. And all of the money goes to the Children's Task Force. And basically, we're a presence that helps support that activity.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our projects, it's not really projects, they're more or less service projects more than anything else, just activities, service activities. Is that covered, Doug, you think?
Yeah, that's good, Charlie. Yeah. I don't recall what it is you had in mind for a district grant this year.
Well, I'm speaking with the director of the local community center. It's a place that serves as a meeting place for the town meetings. It also serves a lot of the youth in our area as well as seniors with a lot of different activities. And I have approached the director and asked him, is there anything that he needs that our Rotary group can help provide or procure for him? And he has not get back to me yet. He's been quite busy. They've had to, with this coronavirus, he's had to reshuffle all of his activities. But he's going to get back to me. And when my project this year is going to be to work with him and hopefully fulfill one of his needs that he's not able to get with his current funding from the town.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Good. So those are great because those are both sharing your values with new audiences. You know, you're reaching new people, and hopefully you can inspire more people to take action. Does anybody else want to share something that they do in their club that might reach out to audiences or inspire people to take action or help bring people together to experience the power of Rotary? Are there things you invite people to that are good examples of that?
Hi, this is Laura Pellerano, and I am the president-elect for the Ellsworth Rotary Club. And so I'm getting reverb.
Yep, we can still hear you fine though.
Computer's going here. So basically we do a number of events and projects in our area. And and we just had to postpone the one major one, which is our Rotary Auction, and we pair with a nonprofit partner. And this year we are pairing with Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County, and we give them half the proceeds to help their organization. It's a pretty big undertaking, and of course, you know, you got it halfway set up, and so we had to postpone, and we're hoping in September we can still do it. We also do a pancake breakfast, and these are our annual things. We do 2 pancake breakfasts, and just a lot of community projects. We built a playground. It took us 2 years, didn't it, Clyde? And that was a grant that we got from the district to build the playground for a daycare, special children's daycare. So we do a lot of variety of things to get ourselves. We do a freshman barbecue at the high school. We go and we serve the kids, cook the burgers or whatever. And, you know, we participated in the Ellsworth Christmas parade this year as well. So just a lot of different things. And we're trying to look at a new global project, international project, because our wheelchairs are going to be kind of hampered in how we do it, because the American Wheelchair Project wants us to buy 280 wheelchairs now, and it's just financially.
That's a big thing to ask, right?
So that's where we are, looking for new international projects.
Great. Anybody else want to share? All right, let's move on to the next priority. Thank you, those of you who chimed in. That's fantastic to hear from all of you. So expanding our reach. These are the things that we have been talking about. Some of the projects you were just talking about do an awful lot to do that. So how do we go about expanding our reach? At the corporate level, RI is developing some new products and alternative participant models so that regardless of where people live, they can join us and take action with Rotary. And at the club level, we need to invest in bringing in more people from different backgrounds. And Doug alluded to that earlier. There are so many ways to create channels into Rotary. You can bring family members in, you can involve Rotaractors and all the other groups that you might have that are affiliated with your club. You can keep your club's website updated. That's huge. And your social media pages. Those are great ways to reach out to the community. And there are all kinds of leaders in the communities. And we want all those leaders to be connected to Rotary. So open up your thinking about who a leader can be. What does a leader look like? And then reach out to these new people. So, you know, you don't have to have the same view of what you think a leader should be. Start a dialogue about how Rotary can be mutually, and the leader can have a mutually beneficial relationship from their participation in activities and events. And don't forget to look around your communities and see the ways that people are connecting, okay, above and beyond what you're normally doing with your organizational connections to schools and other civic groups. How about looking at shared professional groups? Or shared cultures or interests. There are other things that connect us that we can look at for members, for people who we think that would be able to be good members of Rotary, and invite them to connect with us. And because when we're thinking beyond the traditional partnerships, when we're proving that we're open and engaging, we're going to get more people to join. We also demonstrate that positive change starts with welcoming the talents and ideas of others. So it can be a great opportunity for your club. So what are the kinds of things you're doing to maintain connections, especially in light of our social distancing with COVID-19? I know we just heard that Suzanne had a virtual meeting. The Rotary Club of Old Town has one on Thursday. Are there other things that any of you are doing to maintain those connections and reach out during this time?
Hi, this is
Can I ask a
Nancy.
question?
Hi,
Go ahead.
Nancy.
Whoops, sorry. We split our list up last week and we touched every member of the club just to see how they were doing. Let them know that we're here if they need something, how they themselves, their family, and then again, in my conversations, asking on their business, how they were dealing with it, because many of them are going through a lot right now with having to lay people off, send them home, and worrying about it.
Yep.
And do I pay them? Do I have enough to pay them, or do they go on unemployment? So it was very well received in our group.
That's a great idea. Somebody else had a comment?
No, I was wondering about Old Town. When you're connecting with you're having a virtual meeting, using Zoom or what kind of, what are you using?
What's that? We're using Zoom.
For Old Town?
Yeah, it's free.
I understand Zoom is free, but and you didn't need to connect with all your members to get them to.
Yeah, I sent them the instructions through Club Runner, just like I did to you guys. And I'm hoping that they have the same response. And I used y'all as an example.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So there are, if you go back to one of the first email that I sent, there are, and if you go to zoom.us, that's Zoom's website, there are resources there and all little videos on how to set up an account and how to connect to a meeting and all of that stuff. And we'll see. I've got a lot of emails back that say, okay, we're going to try. So Robin and I will be in there early to help people out, just like we did for you guys as well.
We have a comment in chat from Laura Pellerano saying that Ellsworth will be doing a Zoom meeting Tuesday evening.
Nice. You know, I also, actually, you don't know this, Robin, I also took the opportunity, since I was doing it via Zoom and through Club Runner, I tapped into some of our former members that have left the club recently due to like health reasons and things so this is no longer an issue for them if that they can come. You know, Eloise doesn't have to drive at night. She can go to a Zoom meeting, maybe, we'll see. So I took the opportunity to invite some other folks to the meeting that may or may not show up and reach out. It could be fun.
That's a great idea. Once we get back to conventional meetings, we may be able to bring those former Rotarians back via Zoom during our regular meeting.
Absolutely, you could do that. Yep.
Hey, Karina, could you mention what your theme is for the virtual meeting night? Like what you're kind of doing an activity?
Oh, yeah. So I'm reaching out to our snowbirds and I want to have one of them give us a tour of their apartment. Although this week, what I'm finding is all the ones that I'm hearing from are on their way back already. People are coming home early because they want to be home. So, but that's what we're going to plan on. We're going to hopefully do that this week. And if we can I'm going to try to get Frank and Deanie to do a tour of their apartment and out the window so we can see what it's like down there, because there's this whole core group of Rotarians from Old Town that all go to the same place in Florida. So that might be interesting. And then next meeting, we hope to have some sort of trivia.
That's what I was about to mention. I actually did a social event, which is trivia questions for a night.
Yep.
It'd be fun if you had a theme of some type of Rotary theme, or maybe, a community project theme.
Yep.
I like the idea of trivia. We are changing our meeting next week, and we're going to have a happy hour meeting.
Oh, that'll be fun.
It was pretty good today. We had pretty good attendance, but in order to build it, we're going to be reaching out by phone to those who didn't show up, and hopefully they'll join us next week.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I really like Nancy's idea of contacting every person in the club. That could be really helpful. Any other ideas about keeping connected in light of these social distancing constraints we're under?
Hey, this is Mary in Augusta again. We
Hi, Mary.
are doing our meeting by Zoom tomorrow, and those that are not savvy, we're actually able to have them call in on a conference line as well. So that's going to be great. I've actually found myself doing some Facebook FaceTime with people, especially my president from last year, who happens to be my best friend. Her and I actually shared a glass of wine and caught up on some things a couple of nights ago. And finding that I'm just reaching out and just checking in with people. I do marketing and advertising for a living. It's probably the hardest time I've seen in my 22-year history of this career. But I will say the one thing that I'm finding from this is people just want to be, hey, how are you doing? How are you coping? I hope you're doing well. So I've been doing a mixture of sending some emails, sending some text messages to my secretary and treasurer, my president now, hey, how can I help? We actually did our board meeting on Thursday night. We did ours as a phone call, conference call, and went over ideas of how we could give back. And it actually got me to put in an application to be, because where we have our meetings is a senior spectrum, which does Meals on Wheels.
Right.
And because of that conference, I actually put my application in, and they're streamlining that so I can help out, because a lot of their people that do the Meals on Wheels are high risk anyway. So they're already self-quarantining. So, between those different methods, we've definitely been able to connect and stay connected. And I'm excited for our Zoom meeting tomorrow morning.
That's great. That's great. It sounds like people are really, really doing stuff.
I just want to add that if we want to go to like the area club meetings, I mean, from Waterville, I could attend the Old Town meeting or the Augusta meeting quite easily, and that would count towards the governor's citation. So if we can post that,
was great. Yes.
Post the link on your website, then other people can go in.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a really good idea. Wait, that's for Suzanne's district governor's citation.
Yeah, not
so
Joel.
yeah,
Right.
Don't get confused, folks.
Right,
The district governor's citation I was talking about earlier is for your year. So it does not start until July 1. So
Right.
anything you do between now and then counts on Suzanne's,
Existing, right.
which is good.
But it
So
still counts for your club. It still counts for your club.
it always counts for your club. That's right. It's always good practice.
I'd like to add a comment here too with, it was Mary, believe, that was speaking earlier about mixing it up between Zoom or phone calls, or, your membership best and what their abilities are. And I think that you're connecting through those various abilities, which is really important, especially for folks who maybe don't feel confident or comfortable with a Zoom meeting. And I think it's really important during these times. Rotary is a social, we are people of action, but we need to make sure that we, maintain our membership and staying connected. That simple phone call sometimes goes a long way for some folks.
Yep.
A lot of our clubs are skewed older. I know in our club, it's quite a bit older for a few members. And I think it's important to make sure that they feel included and connected, because that's also a social necessity. We are human. So there's my Southie talking, but.
Well, look at what happened to us the other morning. We were planning this meeting. We had an hour meeting to plan this meeting, and we all stayed on the line just talking for 45 minutes after the meeting, because You know, it's just getting that connection, like you said, having a glass of wine with your friend over FaceTime or something. It's good. So
Just want to add that at our meeting today, we actually had one of our, he's 90 years old, and he was there on Zoom. He did sign in 3 times, but he was there.
nice.
He's just making sure he doesn't miss it.
Yeah, that's right. That's great. People really are trying hard, and you know, this technology, this situation is forcing everyone into it, but you know, it's working for a lot of people. So if people do need help, reach out to Robin, Doug, Scott, or I, or to try to get connected. If you need more help with that, just know that we're here for you, okay? All right, I'm going to move on to the next priority, number 3, enhancing participant engagement. So the kinds of questions that this is going to answer is, how can we make sure Rotarians find long-term value in their membership? What would improve their Rotary experience? What skills could people learn through Rotary? And how can we better develop our leaders for our club? As people of action, we strive to understand those needs. But just like the people in the communities we serve, our fellow members need to know that they are seen and heard and valued. They're seeking experiences that feel personally and professionally relevant. And in some cases, we're not delivering on that. So this priority is aimed at making sure that we give our members meaningful opportunities to evolve and grow with us personally and professionally throughout their lives. But let's not stop with our members, right? We want to improve the overall Rotary experience for anyone who affiliates with us. And we should take nothing for granted. We need to look at every encounter as an opportunity to show our people what Rotary can do for them as individuals and as members of our communities. So let's create this space for members, participants, and community, the greater community, to provide regular feedback on their experiences and their needs. Let's not wait for a community need to present itself. Let's be proactive and become known as the people who spot those opportunities for positive change that no one else sees and jump on it. And then let's take a hard look at what happens when people volunteer with us or attend our events. Are we doing everything we can to say to those people, we're thankful you're here, you matter to us? So let's together recommit to putting the needs, expectations, and growth of our participants at the center of all we do. I think this is a really good kind of spin on what we do for evaluating our events. Evaluating our events is not new. Hopefully, we're always evaluating our events. Hopefully, we're always evaluating our community, trying to find out where the needs are. But can we be better at figuring out where those needs are going to be before they happen? A lot of us are business people. We probably could do that. We should be able to. And can we take some of those skills that some of us have and apply it to our club? And especially when you're thinking about evaluating the people who are recipients of what you do. We usually evaluate events by what the club thought, right? Hey, we had a great time. It felt really good. I liked it, or I didn't like it, or whatever. And those are the changes that we tend to make to our events. But have we actually somehow found a way to get to those recipients and figure out what they wanted from our event? You know, we have a huge Hunter's Breakfast every year. Do we ever ask our participants? We've had the same menu for 70 years. Is that a problem? We don't think it is. because we have to do this menu every year. But what if somebody said, hey, you guys, it would be good if you did this, if we gave that opportunity for feedback. Right now, we don't even have that opportunity for feedback. Not that I'm saying that there's anything wrong with our menu or anything, absolutely not. But giving that opportunity for that feedback is not something we even have ever explored. So a good question to ask yourselves here is, what is your club doing to evaluate projects and community interactions from the perspective of the recipient? Is anybody doing that, and has it ever been surprising? Does anybody think it's a good idea, or has, this actually, I was surprised by this. It wasn't something I'd thought of before.
Well, I was thinking of Lisa's effort to connect us with the senior center where we did the Christmas stockings.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were talking about how to engage community members again who've participated with an event, I think Lisa, through her sister who runs that community center, got very positive feedback from the members that we did an activity there on a Sunday afternoon and on a Thursday evening. But there was one young lady who has a disability who communicated that she's on Facebook.
Mm.
And I was thinking, she would love to attend a meeting on Zoom, I bet.
Oh.
So just when we're thinking about diversifying our membership, we should look at people with disabilities as people who could contribute in positive ways and may really enjoy being part of our club.
And identifying a community need before someone's asked.
Right.
Before she was asked. That's great, Pat. I like that. Does anybody else have anything to say about that? Community interactions, evaluations from the perspective of the recipient, or identifying community needs ahead of being asked?
Hi, this is Randy from the Waterville Sunrise Club.
Hi, Randy.
Hello. And one of the things we do every year, we have a mini golf tournament. I think we're in our 11th or 12th year this year. We actually meet with the people we're going to be doing the donation to prior to find out what they really need. It's great. It's great. Like this year, we're doing something with the Special Olympians in town. We met with them. What does you actually need? But versus us just cutting a check and saying, "Hey, you're happy, right?"
Right.
So we found out there are some specific needs they have for certain events that they have planned.
Yeah.
But also, what a great source to invite people to come be golfers at our event.
Yep.
That's one of the things we always have a hard time doing. We do a great job raising money, but don't bring in a big crowd of golfers. So we were able to meet with those folks. We also met with the Maine Veterans Cemetery. They have a flag replacement program. Now think about the Maine Veterans Cemetery. Every year for Memorial Day, they place flags on veterans' graves. We don't think much about it, but those are hundreds of flags. They don't all make it every year. So they need to be replaced. So this was something that we were able to do. Also for that event, we were able to find sponsors, but also a sponsor that would match what we raised.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the second year having that sponsor, and he's one of the people that is very strong about the Maine Veterans Cemetery program. Matter of fact, what we did, where he's going to be actually again this year, we went to him and said, "Hey, what would you like to have for a project? The benefit from this, because as long as it benefits the community, does it really matter which nonprofit you've chosen or which program you support? Well, of course not. They're great causes." Mm-hmm. So this also brought him back in for another year to match what we raised. So that's how we try to do it.
That's good. I like that. And that's a great idea. Sitting down with the recipients ahead of time so that you can find out the kinds of things, what the needs really are.
Remember being a kid on your birthday?
Yeah, I always got those
your grandmother was really excited
bonds.
about those socks you were getting. You're a kid going, "Oh, great, I got socks." tried to be polite and everything. Whereas they would have said, hey, I want a tennis racket, or I want whatever. You could have made that child very happy. We can all relate to that one.
Yep.
Bless my grandmother in those wigwam socks.
Oh, my grandfather gave me savings bonds. I hated it until I went to college and paid for like 3 semesters, I think. But yep, that's great. It's always good to be asked. Anybody else? And here's one that you guys have just proven to be rock stars on, increasing your ability to adapt. We're all here online. We are trying to adapt. And I again, appreciate you all being here. So this, yep.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I need to back up a step here.
That's
we
fine.
have a comment in chat from Rebecca in Bangor saying that they gather feedback from the participants in the Festival of Lights Parade, and it helps them to make decisions for the following year.
The participants who are in the parade, or the people who are watching the parade?
We gather feedback from the participants in our Festival
In the
Lights
parade. Yep. And they are the participants.
And to make for the following year.
Yep.
Sorry to back you up, but
No, not at all.
didn't realize I was not muted. I was still muted when I started talking.
We're all in this together, Robin.
And we thank everyone here for
how
the patience.
dark it is in my room. I turned on the light was on, and right before the meeting started, the light bulb blew. It's just, yeah, if it's not one thing. All right, so I'm adapting to the dark. What are the things, how can we adapt faster to a changing world? I think having a pandemic is a pretty good way for people to have to adapt, isn't it? How can these new perspectives strengthen Rotary? And it's funny, these questions have nothing to do with what we're going through. And what ideas could create long-lasting change? So we are an inventive, entrepreneurial, resilient group. And because we share these qualities, new approaches to organizing principles won't threaten, or shouldn't, our sense of who we are. It's time for us to seek out fresh opportunities, embrace innovative ideas, and take some calculated risks. We must create more paths to leadership, welcome new voices, and simplify how we operate. We're already tackling some of the big operational issues at the RI level. They're looking at governance, new governance models, committee structures, business processes, and everything at the secretariat level to make things more streamlined. Everything is on the table right now. So we should encourage our clubs to take a good, fresh look at themselves as well, and how they can streamline their operations. You guys can create a fund to take some risks and try out some new activities and new ideas. You can host a club meeting in a new location at a new time. You can involve non-Rotarian advisors in club board meetings to get their new and different perspectives and ideas. Did I get that one? Oh yeah. And together, we do want to stay true to ourselves and stay ahead of the change in our next 115 years. So what at governance models, committee structures, or what kinds of governance models, committee structures, business processes will you be looking to change in your club? What's on the table for renovation or revitalization? Does anybody want to kind of tackle that one?
Well, moving forward, there may be, even after we all get together and we can meet at meetings, I was discussing with Suzanne, maybe what we end up doing is having an aspect so that the meeting could also be at Zoom, on Zoom, live, so that those people who are used to going to Zoom meetings, or it's more convenient, that's what they'll do. They may not show up at our regular meeting on a regular basis, but if they're away, they'll be trained to use Zoom. So it could be a good thing in the long run that we're doing these sort of meetings now.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I think there could be some really good results come out of this. I mean, it's tough. It's an awful situation for everybody. And there are people out there who are really, really struggling. So, you know, for the sakes of everyone, if we can take something positive out of this, we should try. Are there any other kinds of things? And we haven't gotten into the nuts and bolts of that kind of stuff yet, of our governance structures and club structures and that. So you might not have a lot of good ideas about that, but we will be talking about that in one of our future sessions. And thank you all for your evaluations, because that really helped to guide the agenda as well. So for the next 5 years, to be as transformative as we can't talk, to be as transformative as we need them to be, every one of us is going to have to take on the role of action plan champion. You've already proven yourselves to be just that, real champions. Champions in the way you advocate for Rotary, champions of leadership, because you're all here training to be presidents, and champions of inspiration. So as action plan champions, we will set the example by responding to change, actively shaping Rotary's culture, and guiding Rotary through the next century of service. You can find the action plan on rotary.org. It's also in that linked document. And it's part of the strategic planning. So this is the basis. What we've been through today is the basis for what we're going to do the rest of the training on. How many of you feel your club is ready for the next century of service? Clyde, you ready? He's finding that mute button.
Yeah, I think we're going to be ready. I mean, we're growing a little bit. We're making some changes, you know.
Yeah.
I think the upcoming next group of leadership, we're not afraid to kick over the anthill of what's always been and try something new and different, because sometimes you get a little stale. Tradition's nice. It's a nice comfy blanket you can wrap yourself up into, but every once in a while you have to throw it away and start anew and see some new ideas coming down the line. I've got a few that I'm working on, trying to flesh all the way out.
Excellent. Thank you. Anybody else?
Absolutely. The Water Rotary Club, I think we have very positive momentum going right now in terms of membership. You know, we have a very strong tradition at the club. Although our numbers are nowhere what they were, say, 15 years ago. Again, we're seeing some positive gains in that respect. Recently, I was able to add a PR chair for my year starting July 1st. I think that's going to be a great addition, talking about increasing outreach. And I just in my 15 years or so in the club, there's just some incredible leadership that I'll be able to fall back on, seek advice from. So I'm really looking forward to what we're going to accomplish in the years to come and well beyond, trying to look beyond just my year, but sustainability for projects and whatnot. So yeah, I think we're heading in a very positive direction.
Excellent. Anybody else? All right. I've gotten the notice that it's time to go. Actually, we're 4 minutes over. But I really, I'm very happy that our discussions actually worked out pretty well. I wasn't quite sure how that was going to go, but I wanted to try it. It's really hard to get the feedback in this situation than normal, and I'm glad some of you were brave enough to jump in and you know, speak up. So thank you all for being here tonight, and hopefully we'll see you all next Monday night. We will have a new agenda. I will email out, the agenda will just continue on the page. There is an evaluation on the agenda. Please fill out the evaluation. It's a very short, I even took a question out now, so it's like 3 questions or something. And you might, if you could just answer the first few questions about this one, if you've already answered the kinds of things you wanted to learn about, that's fine. But I only got 9 recipients from the last survey, so I made sure to put it right in the agenda and hoped to talk about it now. I think that's it. Robin, Doug, Scott, anything to add?
Nope.
Not at this time.
We're good.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks all.
Thank you, everyone. And we will see you next Monday at same bat time, same bat channel. I might be aging myself there.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Hmm.